Hello, hello. This is Dawn Reby, and I am happy to be here with you today. And so today we're going to talk about law enforcement analytics. What skills do we really need to be awesome law enforcement analysts? But before we do that, holy cow, up here in the Northeast, we have gotten so much snow. Yesterday, we got about a foot of snow. So I shoveled the entire driveway and threw my kid in the snow a few times. And then overnight into this morning, we got another foot of snow. So we have just been bombarded with a ton of snow, and we've been making some caves and doing all kinds of fun things in the snow. So it has been a winter wonderland up here in the Northeast. Who else is enjoying some of this awesome weather right now, going out there and all that shoveling? Yes. Okay, so let's get to it. So we're going to talk about law enforcement analytics. And so welcome to my home. This is a very relaxing conversation that we're going to have about what you need to be an awesome analyst. And so, as you know, a lot of what we talk about is kind of this big picture, holistic stuff, right? How to lead the best lives that we want with health, with wellness, and, what creates the environment and the lives that we want, right? And so for us, for law enforcement analysts, we often want awesome, excellent careers that are leading us in the right path. So condo fees for the win. Oh, all right. So Erica, you had your condo people shovel you out. Awesome. I don't know if you can hear it, but my townhouse people are shoveling me out right now after I shoveled myself out earlier today. Anyway, all right, let's get back to it. So there's lots of things that folks really need, right? Analysts in particular in law enforcement, to be de-stressed, to be focused, and to be on the right path. I have the pleasure of talking with hundreds of analysts throughout the United States of America. I go and visit them, I sit with them, and then I do some remote work with them. And what I find is many of them don't really know what they should know. Is that you? Like, you're like, what do I really need to know to be a crime analyst? Because maybe you just ended up in your spot because you applied for a job and you got it. Maybe you knew someone and you got in, and now you're here and you're like, what do I really need to know? And so I get this question a lot, what skills should I be bringing to the table? And a lot of times chiefs and commanders will also ask me, what do we ask our analysts? How do we interview them? What should they know? So I'm about to set you up with exactly what you need to know to be a phenomenal analyst in terms of skills, right? In terms of skills and technologies that you need to know. And where to get those things, right? And so how to develop this roadmap of success. So if you've already developed this roadmap where you're like, I know where I'm going and I know exactly how to get there, then go ahead and let me know because I want to hear from you. But for many of you others who are just like, I don't even know where I want to go. Well, listen to last week's video where we talked a little bit about defining your purpose and where you're going in your law enforcement career and in your life, right? And so defining your purpose and knowing where you want to go is the first step, right? Gaining clarity on where you want to go is the very first step. The second step is designing this plan on how to get there, right? And so, for instance, if you know that you love intelligence analysis, if you know that you like really looking at networks of people, maybe gang intelligence or prostitution rings or drug trafficking or, female trafficking or male trafficking for that matter. If you're much more into network analysis, into regional organized crime, that kind of thing, then you're going to want to set up a path for yourself to give yourself the skills that you need to do that type of work. The link analysis skills, the database, tapping into your database skills and that kind of thing. All right, so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about, once you define exactly what you want, what analytical position you want in the law enforcement environment, let's design a roadmap to get you there, okay? And so today is all about the skills and technologies competencies that are going to really be essential to make you marketable and, to keep you valued in your department. So here's what happens. A lot of analysts will pop into a police agency and they become the analyst and they take, raise your hand, give me some hearts, give me some high fives. If you are the analyst, right? And if you're listening to the replay of this, go ahead and let me know. If you're the analyst who you walk in and they're just throwing stuff at you and you're like, okay, I guess I got to figure it out. Right? So you're the reactive analyst. That happens to a lot of us. And so once you define exactly where you're going, all of the technologies and skills and competencies that you want to know kind of fall into place, right? And so let's go through that. So there's a couple just a couple that we're going to talk about today here. So tactical analysis. So you're a tactical analyst where, let's say there's a robbery series, right? Or a burglary series, and you're the person in charge of figuring out the pattern of offending, the pattern that the suspects are offending and where they're going to hit again, right? And you're just like, oh my God, how in the world? I don't have a crystal ball. How am I going to figure this stuff out, right? And so what skills do you need to do that? Well, you need a few, right? So you need reading skills, right? You need to be able to look at the reports, read them every single day. You need to be able to put them into a data system where you can extract that information easily, right? And then you need this pattern identification process, right? So you need to be able to look at lots and lots of pieces of information and figure out how to extract those key pieces that are gonna bring you to decide and to determine and to apply some statistics and some pattern pattern analysis techniques, and determine where should we send our officers to be most impactful and effective. So we're going to talk about some basic skills that you need for an analyst. So if you're an aspiring crime analyst, or if you just really like cool crime analysis kind of things, right? What do they actually do? They look at a bunch of police reports. So you read the murders, you read the robberies, you read the rapes, you read all of these things that have impacted people's lives. And you use your special skills and talents to provide the best information, the best analytical information to your command staff and to your patrolmen and women, so that they can go out and keep our communities safe, right? Like that's what we're all about. So our job as analysts is to work smarter and not harder, or help our police departments work smarter and not harder, really zoning in and targeting those activities. So what skills, some of the skills that you need, it really kind of depends whether you're an intelligence analyst, a crime analyst, a traffic analyst. So it kind of depends on what kind of analyst you are. Some departments are small, and so they either have no analysts. So maybe you're a commander or a lieutenant or sergeant, and you're now performing an analytical function. Maybe you're the only analyst of one or two analysts in your department and you kind of do everything. Or maybe you belong to a larger agency and maybe you only deal with robberies and someone else deals with burglaries and that kind of thing. So being a law enforcement analyst involves very distinct skills, right? You gotta really have this critical thinking skill happening, right? You gotta really understand how to read lots of information and consolidate it in a way that's digestible and usable to your command staff. So what technologies do you need? Okay, so you definitely need Microsoft Access. You need to be able to analyze stuff, right? And so you need to be able to do that in Microsoft Access. Some analysts use Excel, and that can do that has some value, but you definitely want to have Access because that's going to give you the relational database piece. That's going to be, here's my crime, and I'm going to link it to this other data set and bring all this other information in. So you need to know Microsoft Access. So if you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm writing down these skills, I need to know Microsoft Access. I need to know Excel. In Excel, you want to know statistical significance. You want to be able to create standard deviations and z-scores and all that fun stuff. And if you're like, oh my God, this is getting overwhelming, don't worry, I have a tool for you in just a little bit that's going to help you through this process. Every analyst should have a professional development plan. You are in charge of your own life, right? And so what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So if you're the kind of analyst that, you're waiting for your chief or for your commander to send you on training, then that's where you're going to remain. You're going to remain in that reactive place. But if you're the kind of analyst who wants more, you want this bigger life, you want more out of your life, more value, more time, more everything, right? and so that you can have less of the work and more of the everything else, then it is so important for you to design your career path. It's important for you to invest in your career path. So really, that involves chunking out where do I want to go and how am I going to get there? And so we have roadmaps in our Rising Genius program. We do have roadmaps with exactly the resources you need to get you there. So let's say you are that analyst, that intelligence analyst, and let's say you're like, oh my gosh, I need to learn Microsoft Access. How do I do that without spending a fortune? In the Rising Genius program, we actually point you to resources, and almost all of them, I would say about 95% of them are free. And so we tell you exactly where you need to go, which is kind of cool. We help you develop your roadmap. Okay, what other skills do you need to know? So when I worked at Nashua Police Department in New Hampshire, we used mapping, right? A little bit. And this was maybe 4 years ago. And so we used mapping, ArcGIS, Esri products. Way back in the day, we used MapInfo. And so mapping is a nice skill to have. And so if you can learn how to map, and again, I have lots of free resources for you, but if you can learn how to map, right? How to look at your last 3 to 5 years worth of crash data, enforcement data, selected crimes data, and really, kind of look at your information in a way that's going to be on this hotspot of a map and say, okay, this is our hotspot. This is our zone where if we deploy officers to this location, we will have the greatest impact, right? And so understanding how ArcGIS and ArcPro and mapping and all that stuff works is going to be a skill that you're going to want to take with you wherever you go. And so our Rising Genius program has, roadmaps to get you there as well. So statistical significance, Microsoft Access, ArcGIS, definitely. There's some other mapping programs. CrimeStat is a free mapping program that you put on top of ArcGIS, and that's going to help you with some of that thematic mapping, that hotspot mapping. So there's lots of skills that an analyst needs to know. We just kind of touched on a couple of them today because, before you decide what skills you need, right, you kind of want to know where you're going first. So that's really the starting point. And so a lot of analysts, what I find is I'll go and talk with an analyst and they will say, okay, well, I need to learn cell phone analysis, or I need to learn some other how to analyze. And what they really have to do first is figure out where they are going. Where do they want to end up a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now? So today I'm going to give you a gift. I'm going to help you get started with figuring out where you're going so that as you begin to think about the path that's going to get you there, all those trainings and the hows, you're always going to have your compass pointed in the right direction. And so the gift that I'm going to give to you today is, there's going to be a link to it in here somewhere, right? So there'll be a link that says click here. There's a link to it that's it'll be a free download for you to get you started to thinking about what you want your life to look like, what you want your career to look like, what you want your path to look like. So go ahead, download the free download. I'll add a link right after I hop off of this for you so that you have that link. You can download that link and get started with defining where you're going. And then the rest of it, creating that roadmap, creating how to get there is going to come. All right. Cool. So we have Krista and Shelly and Darlene and Eric, and oh my gosh, thank you all for joining. We have Chris. We have all kinds of folks who are joining on here. So if you're just joining on here, thank you. In the Northeast, we are under snow right now, which is why welcome to my living room. And so, I'm happy to be here with you, and I'm happy to dig out my car twice. And I'm also happy to get you started on your career path to rising your genius, right? Really defining the life that you want, exactly the life that you want, and then creating those inspired action steps to get there. So if you're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm spinning right now because I need someone to walk me through that, we do that. We help you with that. But for today, just download the free download. It's the holidays. Take a deep breath, download the free download, and really just start to give yourself some space to think about where you're going. 2020 is going to be amazing for you. I know that it's going to be. If you take charge of yourself right now, 2020 is going to be amazing for you. Join us for the Rising Genius program starting in January 2020. So, all right, that's it for today. I'm so excited that you joined. And for those on the replay, I'm so excited that you came too. We'll see you all real soon.